The following program was produced by Cinema Milkshake.
And now, our feature presentation.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Ryan, and this is my podcast.
Cool.
It's about movies.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
Hey, I've seen several thousand of them, okay? I need to do something with all that useless knowledge banging around in my head.
Brother, you said it.
There are many different types of movies, and many different types of people who like them.
It's a crazy world. Someone ought to sell tickets. Sure, I'd buy one.
So, I've asked some of these beautiful people to recommend movies to me that I've never seen.
You gotta come take a look at this.
This hunt better be good!
And then they join me to talk about them.
Uh-oh!
Give you any idea what you're getting yourself into, Daddy-O?
Try me.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You got it.
Any genre, any decade, from anywhere in the world.
Now that's what I'm talking about!
So what have you got?
Now the fun begins.
Let's all go to the movie.
Will it kill me or thrill me? Kill me?
Thrill me.
Kill me?
Kill me?
Thrill me.
Kill me?
Thrill me.
Kill me?
Twist!
Are you not entertained?
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kill Me or Thrill Me. This is the podcast where I invite all kinds of people to recommend all kinds of movies to me that I've never seen before. And then after I watch them, they come on the show and try to justify it. And to justify today's movie, I've brought in an old friend of mine. He's an actor. He's a musician. He's right?
Yeah, I still do that.
He's a music. I love when I have to check with the guest while I'm introducing them. No, I'm kidding. He's also holds the distinction of being one of the only actors I've ever directed via text message. And he's also my favorite Alaskan.
Oh, thank you.
Rob Jollie, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. My face hurts. I survived my surgery. I'm doing okay.
Good.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Having a wonderful day, just getting some stuff done around the house and a relaxing Sunday, and it's just staying inside from this windy, blustery day.
Yeah, it's very windy out here in Western Michigan today. We're a few miles apart, but we're both still Western Michigan, so we're getting buffeted by the Jimmy, the Jimmy. I wanted to make a Jimmy Buffett joke, but that didn't work. I'm all thrown off today. I had to do a little bit of home surgery on my face. Yeah, I know. So I had this little skin tag.
Yeah.
Above my right eye.
Oh, okay.
And it was like egregious.
Yeah.
Like the audacity of the son of a bitch was
the persistence.
It was just unbelievable that this thing just popped up on my face and said, you know what, I'm living here now. So through by way of a nurse who happens to be a friend of mine, I did a little bit of home surgery involving some alcohol swabs and a pair of beard trimming scissors. It did not hurt. However, the gout of blood that ran down my face was like in Bram Stoker's Dracula when he stabs the cross. And the blood just... That's what my face looked like. It was pretty amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So I sprayed it with some liquid bandage, and that stung more than cutting it off did. So now my face is all like dried up and I'm feeling weird. My eyes a little twitchy.
Yeah, I bet.
But we're not here to talk about my face.
No.
Because this is a podcast.
Oh, no.
It's not a visual medium. We're here to talk about you and the movie you brought me today for this episode. So before we get into it, though, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Above and beyond anything else, this is the most, seriously important question I've ever asked anybody on this podcast.
Yes.
Okay? I really want you to search your soul for the answer to this, okay? Serious question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Rob?
Okay.
what's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm time traveling at the moment.
Yeah.
Time traveling hard. And
back to 2015.
I am sitting in Ben's car right now with Red and you, Liam, in the back seat.
Sorry, folks, a little in-joke from when we worked on a movie together.
Yes.
We were driving around in a car for about an hour filming a dialogue scene with it was our first ever car mount. We mounted the camera on the car.
This is so cool.
I had to direct from the trunk, which means I couldn't hear a word you guys were saying. No. You couldn't hear me. But all of a sudden, you turned the corner, and all I heard was, "Hey, what's your favorite dinosaur?" Like, that's not in the script. And then you guys went off for about 20 minutes on your favorite dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It was adorable. I don't know. I'm a Stegosaurus or Dimetrodon guy. I like the...
Yes, I first picks Stegosaurus, Triceratops, Patasaurus.
Oh.
You know the you said the Dimetrodon is definitely on the short. That's the short list. You know, we got the Plesiosaurus hanging out.
Oh yeah, those are dope.
Yeah, you know, I do appreciate the Brontosaurus. I feel like they're a long neck hippopotamus, you know.
Oh sure.
They're not out to bother anybody or be bothered, but you know, if they do get bothered by anything, they'll deal with it.
Lottie-dottie, we like to party. We don't cause trouble. We don't
bother nobody. We're just some men that are on the mic.
And when we rock up on the mic.
We rock the mic, right?
Rob and I are old school hip hop fans.
Definitely.
And old school movie fans, movie buffs. We go back a ways. So Rob,
yes.
Now that we've got that out of the way,
yep.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then why don't you tell them the movie that you recommended I watch?
Cool. My name's Rob Jollie, and I am an actor and a musician, like you said, and just kind of into editing and producing music, and I am the owner and creator of rojosoul.com, and that's where I have all my digital media available for everybody to check out. And I like making movies. I want to write scripts. I want to take pictures, and I want to jam out with some tunes and sample and all that stuff. And that's what I like to do. And I'm a father, and I'm a husband, and I'm an Alaskan. All that stuff.
My favorite.
And I'm truly an actor because of you. And I don't think if anybody does know this, my first ever anything I've ever seen on screen was Remotion, and I'm really still really grateful for that experience. It really taught me a lot.
Yes,
and
thank you.
I got to meet a lot of cool people, and people that I'm still friends with to this day, and time that I just absolutely can't forget and cherish. And
likewise, my friend.
And I'm an old school movie head. I like a lot of 80s and 70s, just all the decades. I do find my fastball here is 90s and Brendan Fraser, and like you said, what's the deal with us and Brendan Fraser? People of my age group, and I was born in 81. I do have a lot of older family and stuff, so my taste kind of ends up being a little bit more Gen X, but I definitely have a fondness for a lot of millennial entertainment, and Brendan Fraser is no exception. If not, he is one of my absolute favorite actors, and for no other reason that he just kind of is the nice guy, awkward ET type of personality. He just kind of is wide-eyed, naive looking, and he's always just very nice. From any kind of interview I hear from him, or just seeing the kind of roles he portrays and how he's just kind of very lighthearted. He does have a lot of dramatic takes. think School Ties, and
School Ties, yeah.
most recently the Whale. I haven't seen that one yet, but that came out during the lockdown, and been having a hard time getting into a lot of more of the dramatic stuff because it's like I just need a little bit of a lightheartedness. And
The Whale is the complete opposite of lightheartedness. It's misery porn.
Yeah,
which normally I'm not opposed to misery porn. Yeah, he's good in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say right now.
And he is a good actor. I find I'm very entertaining, where he really can hold together a big production, something like this, or Encino Man.
Well, Rob,
yeah,
you said something like this.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? What are we talking about?
This is Blast from the Past. And,
there you go. We've got a title, folks.
Yes, and this movie is something that I recommended for you because I find this to be something that someone would say underrated or guilty pleasure. I don't really believe kind of in guilty pleasure. I do feel a little underrated about this because it does fly under the radar. It is definitely, I think, fairly rated in certain aspects, but there's a lot of underrated performances in things in this movie that I feel give it a little bit more of a, for myself, a little bit more of a forgiveness of the way that the movie was finished. There's a lot of choices that were made in this movie, a lot of things that kind of start and stop, and
sure,
they address some things, they don't address some things. It's definitely something that I find as the years go by a blast from the past in itself, as in we don't see these kind of movies anymore at all either.
No,
these kind of really big characters or big situations that lend itself to the comedy of the story, and the absolute craziness of what happens in this movie. And another thing too is it's just a time capsule of what they thought the 90s were like, and the kind of cynicism that was going on or portrayed a lot in the media. And the music and movies were a lot darker and cynical, but a little bit more like,
that's my fault,
introspective. And we watch those movies. I love those movies, watching stuff to kind of be more serious and cynical. I mean, there's Singles, there's Clerks, there's all sorts of
Bad
stuff.
Lieutenant.
Oh my gosh, Bad Lieutenant.
That sure kicked off the decade.
Yeah, and that's kind of how those movies were. But there's a lot of these movies, and there's a lot of the Farrelly brother type big character, just oddball comedies and things.
It's like the high concept comedy.
Yeah, and
was pretty big.
Also, not maybe high concept, but definitely not highbrow. They're just kind of, there's a lot of going just for laughs, and there's a lot of this in this movie that doesn't get a lot of credit for, because there's performances in here that I think are fantastic. And just to kind of go back to Brendan Fraser's performance in this, I think again, somebody that can hold together a big production like this with big, massive character actors like Christopher Walken and Sissy Spacek, and these guys, they deliver a performance that's big, and they kind of lend themselves to more of a campy satire performance, which I think is something more interesting. Again, the choices that were made in this movie, kind of get away from, they have a big campy, maybe a John Waters type of satire of the 90s, and then they kind of go into this rom-com, which is so kind of forced, I think, in this movie. Which,
we'll get to it. Yeah. We'll get to it.
Yeah, totally. But I'm saying, there's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious how you felt about this type of movie where it's a rom-com, but it's really not. The interesting stuff isn't.
Right. This holds the distinction of being the first rom-com anybody has brought to me. I've often wondered if somebody ever asked me, like, what is your least favorite genre or subgenre? What would I say? Because I'm pretty omnivorous. There's not really anything I don't like or won't watch. I mean, we all have our go-tos, but when it comes down to it, I'll pretty much watch anything, which is kind of why this show works for me, because there's not really anything anybody's going to throw at me that I'm going to go, oh, I don't want to watch that. I'm going to be like, okay.
Right.
But if I had to pick one subgenre that is probably my least favorite, and it's, I don't even mean to say least. The one I don't go to very often would be the rom-com, which isn't to say there aren't like 20 or 30 of them I could rattle off the top of my head that I absolutely love. So that's why it's such a hard question for me to answer. But yeah, well, we'll get into some of this because I definitely could tell you have a definite love for this movie, or at least a strong like.
Oh, totally.
Blast from the Past is a film released in 1999, and it involves a genius inventor during the 60s, played by Christopher Walken, and he has built a massive fallout shelter beneath his house. And during the Cuban Missile Crisis, he panics and he drags his wife, played by Sissy Spacek, into this fallout shelter. And once they're down there, a plane malfunctions and crashes into their house. And he thinks that's an atomic bomb. So he seals up the shelter, sets the timer, like, honey, we're not going to get out of here for 35 years. That's when the radiation will clear. So
my sensors.
Yeah, his sensors. So that's the beginning of the movie. Now, the other thing is Sissy Spacek's character is pregnant, and she very soon gives birth to a little boy named Adam. And throughout the first 20 minutes or so of the movie, we see little Adam grow up into Brendan Fraser. And then, 35 years later, the seals break, they can enter the surface, but through a series of mishaps and unfortunate events, the father has a heart attack of sorts, and so the mom has to send Brendan Fraser up to the surface to gather supplies, and once there, Brendan Fraser, he goes up there and experiences what life is like in 1999. But anyway, that's all you need to know about that. That's the plot. I don't want to give anything else away.
Sure.
Okay, he meets a girl. So this was actually co-written and directed by a man named Hugh Wilson. He actually passed away in 2018. Mm-hmm. Now, he worked in TV quite a bit, and he was nominated for several Emmys, and he won one.
Yeah. He
is also probably most well known to mainstream movie fans as the co-writer and director of the first Police Academy film, which Gen X classic. Mm-hmm. There were several sequels. I was always fond of part 4 because all the skaters were in it.
Yeah,
like Mike McGill and Tony Hawk.
Yeah, was it David Spade was in that one?
Because I was a skater back then, so that was like, sweet,
same,
you know.
Same.
Hugh Wilson also wrote several other movies. Stroker Ace with Burt Reynolds, Rustler's Rhapsody with what's that guy? Tom Berenger.
Okay.
Yeah. Burglar with Whoopi Goldberg, and then in the 90s he did Guarding Tess with Shirley MacLaine and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, okay.
The comedy Down Periscope with Kelsey Grammer and Rob Schneider. And he worked with Brendan Fraser not only on this one, Blast from the Past, they also did Dudley Do-Right together. So that's that guy. It was also co-written by Bill Kelly, who's probably best known for 2 movies that came out in 2007, one being Enchanted and a horror film called Premonition with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
I have not seen either of those, but that's kind of what you get from our cast and crew, or from our crew, writer and director there. You could tell my face is stinging because I can barely talk. However, the cast is really the highlight of this.
Yes, totally.
Because, again, you got Brendan Fraser, very popular actor, starting in the early 90s, up until he kind of left Hollywood behind for a little while for some things we won't get into.
Sure.
But then he kind of had a comeback with The Whale, the Darren Aronofsky film, which he won an Oscar for. He's a much beloved actor. I don't know anybody that doesn't like him. I'm a big fan of the first two Mummy movies. I thought he was pretty good in Gods and Monsters, and I just recently saw Journey to the Center of the Earth with him, and I actually liked it. Yeah. I thought it was fun. Not so much the sequel with Dwayne Johnson. That one wasn't as good because, they were just... Josh Hutcherson's in that. I guess my niece has a crush on him. So I'm just saying that so that I can make fun of her.
Yeah, totally.
You got a crush on you, Hunger Games guy. But, so we've also got Christopher Walken, which really needs no introduction, but he did win an Academy Award for The Deer Hunter, Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
And later went on to be nominated again for Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can. And then we've got Sissy Spacek, numerous Academy
Legend.
Awards. Yeah, she won for Coal Miner's Daughter. And she rose to prominence along with Stephen King, because she starred as Carrie, which was Stephen King's first book.
Phenomenal
movie.
Phenomenal movie.
Yeah. She was nominated for that as well. She's got several awards. I don't even have time to list them all. Right. But I really love a movie I will always take the opportunity to give a shout out to, and that's In the Bedroom.
Okay.
I think is a great film, nominated for Best Picture back in, I want to say 2003. She was nominated for that as well. It's a good crime drama. Very underrated film. From Todd Phillips, who later went on to do Tar, and what's that other movie he did? Oh, Little Children. So yeah, he's not exactly known for light, uplifting films, but yeah, that dude has not made a happy movie yet. God bless him. So other than that, we also have Alicia Silverstone. Yep. She kind of rose to prominence because of those Aerosmith videos, right?
Yeah, starting off with the Aerosmith movies, and then she got her big break in Clue. And then
she was in, Clueless was her big...
Clueless, I say Clue.
Yeah, Clue. little earlier. But then she also did a movie called The Crush.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's like a lethal Lolita. Mm-hmm. Apparently she won some sort of MTV Newcomer Award or Best Villain or some shit for that movie. That was one of those movies I liked it when it came out, but I was also like 19. And when you watch it now, it's like, this is, I don't need to watch this anymore. Yeah. I don't need to see this ever again. So Alicia, she got really popular for a hot minute with Clueless.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, she made a few more movies and then kind of disappeared. And last I heard, she likes to mush up food in her mouth and feed it to her kid like a bird.
It's true.
Yeah. So do with that information what you will.
She did like excess baggage, and then
excess baggage, Blast for the Past,
Batman and Robin.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Batman and Robin. And
she
actually did Shakespeare. She did a Kenneth Branagh, Love's Labor's Lost.
Get out of here. What?
No, it's for real. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's not one of his more well-known or highly rated Shakespearean experiments, but I would be curious to see Alicia Silverstone doing iambic pentameter.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even say iambic pentameter, so I'd like to see Alicia Silverstone doing it. Rounding out the cast, last but not least, we've got one of the kids from the Hall. We've got Dave Foley,
Yes.
who what was that TV show he did? News
Radio.
Or okay.
News Radio.
So we got him playing what might be now considered a problematic role because he's, I don't know, is he gay in real life?
He's straight, and I believe
Okay.
this was a rehashing of another Kids in the Hall character, I think, or
Okay.
or some kind of older character that he had on some other stuff, and it was just basically another play on another character. But yeah,
I mean, he's fine in the movie. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm not a gay man, so I can't speak with authority on this, but I didn't see anything offensive.
No.
In his portrayal.
It was very subdued for what it is. I think, and those kids and the Kids in the Hall characters both or all had that kind of like role, and they never did it to like for like punching down or anything. It seemed
Right.
Just part they needed to play that character for that story.
Sure. Okay. No, he's fine. He's got a good. He doesn't have too much to do, but he's still got a good. He's got a good rapport in it.
Yeah, it seems lighthearted, and it seems it's good spirited.
So just last little bit of context I want to give as far as because I was making the joke to you off. Oh, I was gonna say off camera, but
on camera.
before we started recording, I was kind of mock grumbling about you millennials and your movies. But the reason I was saying that is so far I've had Hojo has come on the show with Mean Girls, and then my friend Joe came on the show with Mighty Ducks 2, and now you're coming on the show with Blast from the Past. So I need to get some more Gen Xers up in here, or even some Boomers.
Yeah.
Because you guys are throwing all the millennial movies I didn't even watch in the 90s, and now I'm getting bombarded here. But no, it's all good. I will say out of those three, Blast from the Past does seem to have the lesser cultural footprint than the other two do.
Oh, totally.
That's neither here nor there. It's just I don't think it's as well. It's not up there with those other two. Mighty Ducks.
Oh, totally not.
I didn't know this I guess that was a huge thing to all of you. I didn't know. Little bit of context as far as like where the critical and audience consensus on this movie sets as of now in the year of our Lord 2026. On IMDb, it's got a 6.7 out of 10, so not too bad. Letterboxd has it at a 3.3 out of 5, and Rotten Tomatoes is about even with critics and audiences. It's a 59% critics, 57% with the audience. So, like I said, this one probably has the lesser of the cultural footprints. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie, just saying. You did pick one that's a little bit more, I wouldn't say off the radar, because everybody I mentioned this to remembered the movie. And, it's one of those, you just don't hear it dropped in conversations as much as the other ones. So I guess you have talked a little bit about the movie, and you touched briefly here and there on what you liked about it and Brendan Fraser and whatnot. But let me ask you to, because I always like to ask the guests up front, why did you recommend this movie to me? But you did kind of explain a little bit of that. So I guess what I'm looking for you now is you personally, Rob, what does this movie mean to you personally that made you pick it as one to recommend to me? That's what I'm curious about. I'd like to see, not just as a movie fan, but like, where were you at in your life when you saw this back then, and what was it about it?
Okay, that's a good place to start.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. So, and I think with the movies themselves, I experienced this movie at a time where we were going out to movies and like on dates, and I definitely went out on a date with this movie, and we were going to go watch this movie and start making out as soon as the lights went down, and that's what you're supposed to do. And then as soon as this movie started playing, none of that happened because I was watching what I think is the strangest rom-com I've ever seen. And I am not a big fan of rom-coms either. They're going to be my last go-to, but you know,
Sure.
we're going out on dates. We got to go see a Brendan Fraser movie with all these wonderful actors. It was like catnip for someone like me of the day. I mean, you got Brendan Fraser, you got Christopher Walken, who was getting into comedy at the time. So he was kind of being reintroduced to another generation, and he was going for comedy, and he's great in this movie. I think his performance and Sissy Spacek's performance in this movie is really campy and over the top. And I think Brendan Fraser, this is, I would say, his least visible role, because there's definitely bigger cultural footprint movies like Encino Man. For myself, I think one of his best movies and one of my favorite movies of all time is Airheads. Some might argue that's Adam Sandler's best movie.
You know what? I think it's Steve Buscemi's best movie.
Steve Buscemi's Rex in Airheads is a brilliant turn. But he's, you know,
I have seen that film. I've only seen it once. Yeah, I need to revisit it because I do remember at the time I didn't think much of it. But God, that was 30 years ago now. I don't know why I didn't think much of it. So I really need to rewatch that.
Totally. Do yourself a favor. Again, I grew up with Brendan Fraser, and watching him in this movie, again, just kind of reaffirms a lot of why I watched him, just being a nice guy and everything, and being over the top funny, and then also just being nice is just, and that's like a common theme in this movie, which they talk about being a bigger part of it. And I think it starts off that way, but then it kind of goes into this kind of cynical satire of the 90s. You know, there's a lot of problematic stuff that gets introduced, kind of mushed in together with like the experiencing it at the same time, and the clashing of the kind of 50s, 60s mentality, which was an interesting start of the movie. And I thought they were going to go more into it. And then it goes into this romantic comedy that is also insane. The way that they introduce Alicia Silverstone,
Eve, her name's Eve,
which is, they just go for it. There's no very unapologetical movie. Another reason why I think it saves it for me as a watch is that they all go for it. I think, for the most part, everybody, except for Alicia Silverstone, I think everybody is on assignment. Everybody understands that they're this like really funny comedic movie that's kind of a send up to the 50s, but also like commentary on the dated outlook perspectives. And then it just goes into a surface level kind of really dumb date movie. And, seeing how it goes into it, like this Eve character in ways that I really shouldn't be. Cause it's Alicia Silverstone. She's the 90s it girl. They smash her in with everybody. It's supposed to be kind of a winning formula. They have her in here, and it's very forced. And I don't want to go on like slamming her performance or anything. Just like the choices that they made for her, and maybe just for this actor, I think were all kind of odd.
Sure.
I like going back and watching it and kind of like being like, how could I fix this? And
right, yeah.
And she's that character in itself kind of allows me to like watch this movie and want more from it, and kind of idealize what I would do for my own movie, because this is definitely a movie that gives a little bit more as far as like the movie itself. Like if you're watching this as a movie script writer or like joke writer, you can watch this movie and go, okay, don't do this part.
Right. Yeah.
Because it is like a master class of like a choice that like this movie was something else before this came along. And I feel like they kind of like shoehorned it in to have this chivalry thing. Cause again, the main theme that they talk about is chivalry and the gentlemanness that Brendan Fraser has to maintain throughout the movie for his own principle or virtue that his father instilled in him, which is all very lovely. It's like a very lovely sentiment and love letter. His father, the Hugh Wilson, director, the writer. Yeah. This is like a letter to his father. From what I've read in interviews, it was something like, "Hey, Dad, this is something like I know you believed in all this stuff. Well, it can't exist in the '90s just in this way," and that part's interesting. And I think that like it was that movie up until like halfway through it, and they're like, "That's a full hour's worth of setup," and then the payoff is this kind of dumb comedy, and like they introduced the Dave Foley character, which I think is good levity, good foil for the Adam character. Not so much the Eve character. She's kind of flat, and she's a baseball card collector or memorabilia collector, which I think is fine. There's some low rent kind of character portrayal that you could do here. I think some people could do it probably better than her. I think her co-actor, Brittany Murphy, particularly could do something like this. I just think Silverstone was a wrong choice. She doesn't really have the chops to stay up with Brendan Fraser, who is just going for it. Yeah, and he's also playing a straight man at the same time, which I think he does a very fantastic job doing. Oh yeah. And then she just kind of gets lost in the sauce, and then she's in this like low rent kind of slummy memorabilia shop, and then she comes out like being like a Mae West, like, "What are you doing here, character?" And she's all glammed out with these curls. I since we're on the subject of her, I might as well just say it, but I absolutely do think she's the weakest point of this movie. 100%.
Like, she has no chemistry with Brendan Fraser whatsoever. I don't want to blame her. No. Because the character just felt underwritten. I think it might also be a little unfair because we get like a full 20 minutes of character development of how Brendan Adam was raised. Oh, yes. So we get so much about Adam and then nothing about Eve than, I work a lot of jobs and men mistreat me, but I'm attracted to men that mistreat me. Mm-hmm. So don't even try.
Yeah, I don't deserve this.
I don't deserve to be liked, and I don't like you. But, okay, I'll help you, but don't get any ideas. Oh, I'm in love with you now.
Maybe get some ideas.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm with you. Like, that. I don't want to go on and getting her performance being so psyched off. The chemistry for sure. And like you said, like, they don't develop her character whatsoever. And she's seemingly a main character. And they try to, again, introduce things that they don't address later on, or they don't really flesh out. There's a lot of themes going on in here, and that's just really indicative of the entire production. And yeah, I think it fails in that sense. And I think they introduced maybe this love story as an afterthought to maybe get on a sales.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, I think they were trying to create a market for something that was a little bit more edgier, and more challenging.
I kind of feel like they were, because by this point Adam Sandler had become pretty big.
Yeah, majorly.
With his formula of grown man child, and they team him up with a sort of down to earth girl, and I couldn't find any information on the production of this movie, like what went into it. So I don't know, but part of me, it felt like something they had offered Sandler and he didn't want. So they decided to have a different actor in it, or they had this really good idea for like a almost, do you remember that movie Pleasantville?
Yeah.
And it felt like they were trying to go for that kind of satire.
That's what I was trying to say, yeah.
Yeah, and then they kind of got scared and said, well, let's just fucking make it a rom-com.
Right.
And let's just grab that Adam Sandler formula and throw Alicia Silverstone in it, and hopefully we'll get some of that Sandler cash.
Yeah.
And I don't think it quite works. I'm not a huge fan of Adam Sandler's movies, but if say what you want, he has a formula, and it's worked.
Yeah.
Because no matter how bad they are, they still make money.
Dude, it's AC/DC. They've been playing the same song for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
On the surface, it sounds fine. Like, all the production sounds great. It's the same old characters, same familiar faces, and it's not very thought-provoking, and it'll put butts in the seats, and it works. This movie does give off a really big Little Nicky vibe. Like, I think maybe Sandler heard the script and was like, I got a better idea.
Right.
I'm gonna make him from hell, and screw you guys.
Yeah. Or who was it? Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin and Biodome.
Oh yeah, Pauly Shore. That's when he started going away, and he had a real big magic with Brendan Fraser. But again, this is like Brendan Fraser is holding all this stuff together, and he's doing it big, and he can do an Adam Sandler movie, but the production couldn't do it. Like, they couldn't pair him up with the right people. And I could put Brendan Fraser in a Big Daddy or a Happy Gilmore, and it would do just fine.
Oh yeah, Brendan Fraser carries this. I mean, I would say he's great. I wanted more of him and Dave Foley.
100%. Yes.
Like, Dave Foley's character was so much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't think it was I didn't see anything in it that was disrespectful. But considering it's 1999, it is what it is. One of my favorite jokes with Dave Foley's characters when she goes, he's gay, and Brendan Fraser just goes, great!
Yeah, he's unfazed.
But then when later he's saying goodbye to him, and he goes, thank you for always being happy. I don't know. I thought that was funny.
That's a funny joke.
I didn't feel he was punching down.
No.
It was just this naive kid that lived underground for 35 years,
Yeah, you're armed with that information very well, because he is, and I think Brendan Fraser informs you that kind-heartedness, naivete.
Yeah.
It's not from a harmful place. It's not punching down. He's just like, hey, thank you for always being happy. And like I want those two. Is it Troy and Adam?
Troy and Adam, yeah.
I want that story because he takes them shopping. He has an Encino moment with him, Encino Man moment where they, Julia Roberts him, they bring him and they make him all fancy, and he's enjoying himself. He's having the best time, and they took him to a baseball game, and the baseball game, it's a drag baseball game.
Was it?
Did you not notice that?
No.
It's all, and he's like, hit the ball, girl, and they cut to the catcher throwing the ball. They do a very stereotypical throw, and then they cut to the sideline with the cheerleaders. What? And they're all drag cheerleaders. They're all men, and they're all done up. They look great, and they're all cheering, have a good time. And then Brendan Fraser goes, you really do have to see it in person to get it. And he's like, this game is great.
Okay.
And they're all watching because his dad's trying to show him baseball in the vault. And he's just like, you got to see it to get it. And
I'm going to have to go back. Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's what I mean. Like, there's these little, I don't even really, it's really, I guess, little and nuggets, where you get these informational pieces. Like, there was a smarter story here.
Yeah.
And like you said, they kind of tacked on that rom-com thing for that Adam Sandler money. They don't go for it. And, I would have loved to have seen him go into the gay culture of that era.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting. And again, the challenging of perspectives would have been great. It would have been a good commentary. We were cinema is obsessed with the 50s, like Pleasantville. The Majestic was the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Back to the Future. The whole thing was going back to the 50s and being like, remember how great it was? And it's like, yeah. It wasn't.
It was never great.
No, and time traveling for me is scary. I can't do it. I'd be the native going into the 50s. No, thank you. I'd be like, next, can we go to the future?
When did Alaska become a state?
Oh, dude. I mean, the 1957, I believe. I think they say that in the movie, because in the movie, he's like,
oh, yeah, he asks him when.
And Troy is like, what year was Alaska a state?
Yeah.
And, you know, all these questions, which is, you get to see their chemistry.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser's homeschooled. He had nothing to do but learn for the last 35 years. So he's a trivia master.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he was able to parry Troy's character, and it was so interesting and funny. And these are the things that I thought were what bring me back to this movie a lot and what I enjoy. And again, this is like a time capsule for movies that I enjoyed back in the day. This is the comedy that we had for those days. And yeah, at some parts it's like, you know, it's nostalgic, but then it's also very cringy. Some people did it worse than others. Some done it better. Yeah. You know, they had these very earnest and nice characters, but they're problematic.
Yeah.
And we get to see a very criminally underused Jennifer Lewis as the psychologist or therapist. It's criminal what they do with her in this movie, because she is.
Yeah, that was another part I was going to bring up. After Adam tells Eve that he's been living in a bunker for 35 years, she immediately doesn't believe him. Mm-hmm. And of course, what any of us would do right away is call a psychiatrist and then start an intervention. No, but that's what she does. Mm-hmm. And then it goes nowhere. It's one of the most pointless things in the movie, I think. Like,
100%.
Was not needed at all.
Yeah.
And
absolutely pointless. It has no effect to the end of the movie.
Well, and not only that, because she's like, no, Adam, go with her. I think it's for the best. And then literally 2 minutes later, she's like, no, I changed my mind. Adam, don't go with them, run. And it's like, which just, again, to your point, to the point we've been hammering.
Yeah.
Now, Alicia Silverstone's character is so undeveloped and so underwritten that her motivation changes on a dime. It's so weird because I feel like she has zero personality. Mm-hmm. Like, you'd never, ever really figure out why, other than, okay, Brendan Fraser, Adam, has lived underground for 35 years. The only other two people he's seen in the flesh are his parents. He's probably seen girls in books.
Yeah.
So the first girl he kind of sees is Alicia Silverstone, and she gets him out of trouble. She makes it so that he doesn't get. He's got a bunch of baseball cards that his dad saved.
Yeah.
And he's like, which even as a non-sports fan who did at one point in his life collect baseball cards, even I recognize some of those cards as like, okay, God, yeah, that's probably worth $7 million.
Yeah.
That Honus Wagner card, everybody knows that damn card.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, that's funny. They're going to do something with these baseball cards. And the guy he takes him to wants to screw him over. And Alicia Silverstone is like, oh, stop it. Take these cards. Don't let him screw you over. So that's how they meet cute. But after that, it's just... he's like, well, how do you know so much? Oh, I've worked lots of jobs.
Yeah, and that knowledge of sports history and baseball cards is nothing. It's a nothing burger.
No. Well, she sells them so they can get money to buy all these, because his mom and dad want like another 35 years worth of supplies because they're going to lock themselves in there again. And so he's trading in all these these baseball cards.
But she has no information that plays. Like, I was expecting like for her and for them to be at like maybe to go to a Comic-Con or something, and they like have to have a battle of wits of sports memorabilia knowledge with some kind of trunk character that's like, if you want all these supplies of something, you must defeat me in a sports trivia history competition. which would have
Yeah.
played into like her working at a memorabilia shop for some sleaze bag, which they really also, I think one of the more forced jokes is he kind of is like, you really screwed me over, Eve. You better leave, and you'll never work in the sports memorabilia industry ever again.
I actually laughed at that because it was so stupid.
It's so stupid.
Like, who's ever yelled that at someone? You'll never work in the sports memorabilia business again.
And she's like, whatever. I would be devastated to lose that job because
I know
I might not have a lot of options out for me. Like this is where I found myself working at a bowling alley one time, and I was like, I can't lose this job.
Yeah, I know. Believe me. Yeah, I've been there.
The only reason why I'm at this bowling alley right now is I can't find any more work or somewhere that will hire me, dude. And like another one of my Joe jobs was Quiznos. And like the guy even was like during my interview process, like, why do you want to work here? We don't pay you very well. And you look like you might need the money. And I was like, yeah, I need the money, dude. Just give me a job.
Yeah.
I'll make whatever sandwiches you need. I need this job. And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
And like, they really do lord the job over you. But, like it's a person that would need that job would be like, I can't quit this job. She was just like, all right, off to the next job. And
then they show her with Dave Foley at this house they live in together.
A house.
And it's a beautiful house. Like
it's a beautiful
house.
How
do they afford this on a sports memorabilia job?
He was working as a web designer, which, makes sense. He was able to do something like that. And like, again, another interesting. And they were able to give him a character real quick and kind of, you'd be like, all right, cool. Your house is nice. You're a web developer. You're, single, middle-aged, gay man. Cool. This is all awesome. Let's follow you around a little bit. They're just like, they kind of like force this glammed out 90s it girl. Like she's not hard to look at. She's just like happens to be in the slums.
Yeah. I think it's just Dave Foley's obviously a more talented actor, I think, nothing against Alicia Silverstone, but I don't think she has great range.
No, she was just in the wrong movie. I think.
Yeah.
And
this just wasn't.
A thing they could have done with her is like maybe give her a little trauma or something. Maybe, or she just like accepts this guy and goes on like this matchmaker date thing. Matchmaker Chuck Woolery type of situation, and we run into another interesting character, which, I don't know if this is Nathan Fillion's. Him and Brendan Fraser also have quick dynamic that I think is far more interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say they have more chemistry than... Because he plays Eve's ex.
Yeah, that they run.
And they keep running into him. But even him and Brendan Fraser are funnier on screen together. Because they have that scene where they're...
He's going to fight him.
He's like, don't fight me. I'm just going to protect myself because his dad taught him judo
or boxing.
Or
it was just like hand-to-hand boxing.
Or boxing, So he keeps just reflexively hitting him.
Which is hilarious.
Because he's like, stop. I'm going to have to I'm just defending myself, but if you sneak up behind me, I'm going to punch you. And then Nathan Fillion's like, no, we're going to fight. And then he gets punched and he's like, okay, we're not going to fight. That's a good idea. We're not going to fight.
And then tries to fight him again.
Yeah, all that stuff is great. It's like, but then all of a sudden, whenever we're asked to just follow the rom-com part, I'm like, stop.
Another thing about this movie, even if you do think it's bad, like look at it. There's not a bad shot in the movie. Like it's all very well framed, shot, sequenced. I think they do follow the formula well. Like it is a very linear plot, even though it's very, the suspension of belief does ask you a lot. It does ask you to do a lot of heavy lifting, but it's a good movie to look at. Brendan Fraser's very animated. Christopher Walken's very animated. He really does steal the scenes right at the beginning of the movie when the plane crashes and he's at the sensors and he's like, oh my God. And like, my heat sensors are off the charts, and this is happening, and everybody get to where you need to go. I love that stuff. This movie itself, it's comforting to watch. There's nothing super disappointing about it. That's what you get, and that's fine. I'm not necessarily ever disappointed in watching this. I like that it's a serviceable. It's a good movie. Like there's not a lot of bad production.
It's obviously a mainstream film production made by a writer and director who worked primarily in mainstream Hollywood comedies. I mean, it's a very benign satire. Like this isn't an angry satire. This is very much a sort of, it's an idealized version of the 60s juxtaposed with this sort of cynical yet not entirely dangerous 90s, that neither of these things existed. And but I think what I found most interesting was how Christopher Walken's character is so protective of not only his wife and child, but just of his world, that he literally recreates that. Because the fallout shelter is basically what their house looks like up above. And so when they're down there in that bunker, he's loving it. Like at one point, he's like,
can't get any better than this.
Why leave? And then that's when Sissy Spacek excuses herself from the table and goes and runs in the padded room and screams. But so I think it's kind of an interesting play on how Brendan Fraser was taught that was the normal world, that these were the normal roles of mother, father, man, woman. And then he gets into the 90s where apparently we were all screwing all that up for everybody. And oh my God, we ruined everybody's good time here in America, and, being all liberal and shit. And so then he finds out, actually, you know what, Dad? It's fine. It's what you make of it. And, because by the end, when he's rich, obviously, because he's got all these baseball cards and these stocks and
the stocks.
So
too.
the
stocks, but there's a lot.
Yeah, the stocks. And they literally rebuild his parents' house so that once they pull them up out of the ground, they can just go live in the house they had lived in for 35 years underground and whatever long before that. So it's kind of like Mom and Dad are never going to break out of their world, their great times. So they just keep rebuilding their world for themselves. Even though the mom hints at like, no, I want out. I want to do something different. Virginia Slims, we've come a long way, baby. She wouldn't have heard of feminism yet. So now she's kind of like, no, I want to put on some pants and go, do some things without my man around.
Go to the porn shop.
Yeah, they live right next to a porn shop, so they could.
That was interesting. And did you notice that they blurred everything in there?
All the covers were blurred out,
and I was like, why would? And they did it to maintain the PG-13.
Then why not just get different covers? Yeah. Like you could still make fake porno covers without showing,
or
tits. I mean,
they go devil in the details and just make them up. And like you could just have people doing funny porn covers. They had small jokes in the movie, and I'm glad you brought up the house thing, because like there's a scene where they're in the bunker or something, and he like taps on the window. Like they go out in the backyard, and like there's no window in the door, like on the back door. There's no glass. I mean, there's nothing there. And then they go up top at the end of the movie, and he taps, and there's glass there, and he's like, huh.
Yeah.
And it's like a small joke like that, or detail you could have. They were trying to do all these things, and it's like, man, what if? And that, also another reason why I like watching this movie, because this is like, I think I mentioned it about going to quote unquote fix it, but like this would be, there's good ideas here, and I think if you wanted to make a movie off of this movie, there's a lot of ideas involved where you could, come up with something a little bit more biting or, more smarter, I guess. More smarter. But like,
I mean,
they really do go soft and they didn't have to. Yeah. I think if it was like true to the 90s, it would have been a little bit more darker. I mean, like, I think like Doom Generation is considered a comedy in certain circles, like, and it's like one of the most disturbing endings of a movie I've ever seen. And
good old Gregor Racky.
They pull back and they didn't really have to. I think it would have fit just fine. And
I agree. I think that would have been more fascinating. I think that, if there is another thing that could be said to this film's detriment, is that it was too soft. It was almost too genteel.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm not necessarily saying that in a bad way, but
I mean, like, this is a good dumb movie to watch with somebody and have a laugh about. But
dude, I remember one of my first dates, I took a girl to see Cape Fear. So I don't know. You're like, oh, you got to go to a rom-com. I'm like, no, I'm going to take her to see Cape Fear. Well, just see what happens.
It's like, it's thought-provoking, and, it's a little endearing.
Well, and then when she had the reversal, she took me to see Basic Instinct. Yeah.
And...
the 90s! One of my favorite Christopher Walken moments in this is at the end when Adam sets his dad down and says, "Dad, there was never an atomic bomb. The world went on just fine for 35 years. Yeah. We were wrong." And Christopher Walken is just, at first he's like, you're joking with me. I don't buy it. And then, but you could kind of see it dawn on his face where he's like, oh shit. And then he just leaves there, he's like, don't tell your mom. Yeah. I just thought Christopher Walken nailed that. Because part of him, you could tell part of him doesn't quite believe it. Because to believe that would be madness. Because what did we just do for 35 years?
You should implode. A regular person would, like, crumble.
Yeah. Like, and his son is taking it with a grain of salt. Like, well, you didn't know any better, Dad. It's okay. But just so you know, that was just a plane that crashed on our house. And I thought that moment was cute.
He's a wonderful actor for that. Because, like, there's not a lot of walking you to the jokes or to the cues in these movies. They do a really good job at just giving you a performance and you kind of having to figure it out. And like I like, even the statement in itself is really powerful, and he takes it and he absorbs it and he transposes it in the best way. And like, I think as the character you're introduced to, like his dad, and his payoff is great, and especially with stuff like that. It's like, this is great. It's a little nugget hidden in this kind of goofy movie, and I think in a lesser talented hands it would have been missed, but like Christopher Walken crushes this movie. Yeah,
or when Sissy Spacek accidentally says shit, and is, pardon my French, and Brendan. Shit is French? And then Christopher Walken's trying to it's an old dialect that from the, and he's just like, so then for the rest of the movie, of course, when anybody says shit, Brendan Fraser starts speaking French, and so cute. There's some funny moments. Like, I think honestly this movie works whenever it's not focused on the rom-com part. And I also think, which we haven't even discussed, but I did not, that whole running joke of because once they ride the service elevator up from their fallout shelter, they burst through the floor of a rundown bar, and the guy working at the bar thinks it's Christ or somebody, or just some sort of God. And then it becomes, every time they go back to it, there's more and more followers of, are you him? Are you his son? And
leave my service elevator alone.
Yeah, I didn't think any of that really paid off. Like, I didn't, it didn't. I just thought they could have done without that too. Like it just.
And you're right. It was kind of neither here nor there.
It just wasn't. Didn't feel. It didn't feel organically worked into the rest of it.
There's no Church of Adam at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean they do end up kind of just helping him out with some stuff, and they find out that they're not really gods. They're just been living underground, and then everybody, okay, everything's happy now. We've got these new friends, and that's fine. It's benign, but it just didn't work for me. So
I ask you.
Yeah.
Did I thrill you or did I kill you?
You did not kill me. I did not hate this movie. And honestly, I thought it was cute. I thought I was amused. I kind of believe that if I had, let's say if I had been a little bit younger in the 90s when this came out, I probably would have a similar feeling towards it that you do. Mm-hmm. But seeing it all these years later, it's just, it didn't really impact me much as far as any kind of, I'm used to Brendan Fraser, I'm used to Christopher Walken, I'm used to that formula. And even at the age I was in 1999, I doubt this would have done much for me. But seeing it now as a middle-aged man, just kind of, which is weird now because it's supposed to be a movie about the 60s being nostalgic. Now I'm watching it and it's about the 90s being nostalgic.
Right.
Looking back at the 60s being, so I'm watching it more now as oh man, the 90s. Yeah. Holy shit, I remember the 90s. And I mean, I was in a little bit different place in 99. A lot different music coming into my world. I was jamming to Prodigy and Underworld and all that shit at the club.
UK
and
hardstyle stuff.
Yeah.
I was,
Faithless and stuff like that. So some of this soundtrack was sort of, not really my thing back then. But I still got a kick out of, I love the opening. I think the whole opening 20-25 minutes of them just living down in that bunker, I almost didn't want that to end. And then I think once Brendan Fraser gets to the surface world, it's fun. And I tried to give the stuff with Alicia Silverstone a chance, but man, it just drags, and it if you can take that out of the movie and then a couple of those other elements like calling the doctor on him and the church of the elevator or whatever the hell they're called, if you remove that, it's a pretty solid, just like you said, it's like a comfort food. It's like just a blanket. I can see why some people, especially if you were there, like you were, if this was a thing for you at that age, I can see why you would still be compelled to watch this movie and feel a sense of comfort with it. Because I'm that way about some of the 80s movies. I can look back at them now and say, okay, that's not as good as I remember, but I'm still always gonna love.
Oh, I'll give you one. I watched. You ever watch Love at Stake?
Oh yeah,
that's 87 or something like that. And
Love at Stake. That's who was
Dave Thomas.
Dave Thomas. Yeah. Those kind. Yeah. See, My Best Friend's a Vampire or Teen Wolf or just those old. Looking back at it now, it's those are some pretty mediocre movies, but the nostalgia of having seen them as a kid or a teenager obviously brings a lot to it. So I think that's in the case of this. You're probably bringing more of that to it than me, but I can get it. I can see it. Just listening to you talk, watching the look on your face while you're describing things, there's obviously a sense of joy this film brings to you. And while I can't completely relate to that, I still feel like it's a fun little movie. I will say it's a moderate thrill me. It's a medium thrill me.
Right. And I think the ratings on this movie, like you talked about the tomato stuff, it's like, and like how I mentioned it was like usually considered as an underrated Brendan Fraser film. I honestly think it's middle. It's fine where it's at. I do
kind of perfectly rated.
Perfectly rated.
Yeah, no, and it is. It's hard to find, other than a few problematic jokes aside, and obviously there is a certain reinforcement of gender roles that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't necessarily think it's preaching them. I think by the end of the movie, it's kind of clear that Brendan Fraser's probably not going to necessarily follow in his parents, as wife in the kitchen, me in the garden, and any of that bullshit. But so I don't necessarily think the movie's preaching those gender roles as much as it is just presenting them without other options. Kind of like the Forrest Gump thing. Like, going back to Forrest Gump now, it's a very conservative movie. In fact, the liberal, quote-unquote liberal character in Forrest Gump is the one that's punished for everything she does. She ends up dying at the end because of her sins, whereas the small-town conservative boy, Forrest, becomes the hero and is, this multimillionaire, and he's got everything he ever wanted. And so there is this little bit of a reinforcement of that idea with Blast from the Past. Not nearly as egregious as Forrest Gump is.
Hegemony, people holding the pen, writing the story. They're the hero.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I don't think it quite achieves the sort of subversive quality that like, Pleasantville had. Because that was a little bit more subversive. Or even like the more family-friendly John Waters films, like Cry Baby and Hairspray. So yeah, I guess I'm glad I finally saw this. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a movie that was parked on my watch list screaming at me, but I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad I saw it. I do think Christopher Walken and Sissy Spacek are quite good. I think they're fun to watch. I kind of wanted more of them. I did want more Dave Foley. And I almost wish they had just let Brendan Fraser... You know what? It kind of could have been if they'd kind of done a Pinocchio type story with it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Without a love story, and just had him go out into the world and experience things and then bring that knowledge back. But the whole, I got to have a girlfriend because I want a wife. And
right. That was forced. It was super forced. And it's like I think the thing is, it's just a tale of two movies. There's two different movies here, and you can watch it for it being one movie and not another movie, because I definitely watch it as the other one. I don't really see this as a rom-com, and that's, I think, why I can return to it more, because I mean, I watch a rom-com once, really. I couldn't tell you if I watched anything more than once that involved this kind of love story. It's just kind of dumb, boring.
Other than Annie Hall, which I've probably seen 57 times.
Or what's the kid that goes to his own funerals? He falls in love with the older lady.
Oh, Harold and Maude.
The rom-coms could be more can be subversive too. They could talk about. They could have talked about a different kind of relationship.
Hey, my favorite screen romance of all time is Midnight Cowboy.
Okay. I think I'm familiar with that one.
Oh, Midnight Cowboy? Dustin Hoffman, Jon Voight?
Yeah.
Two problematic people. Just ignore all that. Just watch the movie. Best Picture winner from 1968. It's the first and only X-rated film to ever win the Best Picture. But keep in mind, X meant something different back then than it does now. No, Midnight Cowboy is a beautiful film and probably one of my favorite screen love stories. I just think it's
I'll have to
brilliant.
check it out.
And there you go. That's my recommend. So you brought me Blast from the Past, and I brought you the grim, absolutely grim, transgressive joy that is Midnight Cowboy. there you go, folks. That's where we started out talking about dinosaurs and Bad Lieutenant, and Alicia Silverstone got into the mix. No, so thank you, Rob. It's good to finally get a chance to talk with you again, because we did real quick here at the end. Just let everybody know we did try this before, and we recorded a whole episode,
2.5 hours
and
or more plus,
and it was a complete disaster on a technical level because the audio was completely screwed up. And wouldn't you know it, the movie we happened to be discussing was The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. So if there was one movie to cause a fiasco on this podcast, I'm glad it was The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, because how apropos. Right. And I'm glad it was you, because I got to spend 2.5 hours talking to you.
Yeah.
And catching up with you. So that's why this one was a little easier to segue into, because, like, okay, we caught up on like 10 years.
So sentimental. The other one's a little bit more sentimental. This one we got to actually get into a little bit of that, but get into what we normally do, because this was our conversations like on the movie set and when we were hanging out. It's just being able to nerd out on these types of things. I could watch a movie like Blast from the Past and dissect the hell out of it, because that's what I just like to do.
Yeah, no, I'm glad, and I'm glad you came back for a redemption tour. I would say give this movie a chance if you haven't seen it, but don't try not to think too hard about it.
No, you don't have to.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy the waves. Enjoy Brendan Fraser. And Rob, why don't you remind everybody what you do and where they can find you? And because I do want everybody to check out your stuff.
You can find me on social media, Rob Jollie, Facebook. You can find me at Rojo Soul on Instagram. You can also check out the website at rojosoul.com. That's where I got all my merch, all my digital designs, videos. Same with YouTube. Just look up rojosoul.com, Rojo Soul TV. Yeah, and hopefully you can't find me anywhere else. If you see me out in public, I'm screwing up and I need to be more of a Sasquatch and stay in hiding. I'm a very reclusive person nowadays. I think the one thing since the lockdown, I've definitely have found myself more at home and not out in public. And
dude, I miss the pandemic so much. I want to go back to
more intentional though. I think one thing I do like about what has come from it, if we could find a silver lining, is like these type of things, like the conversations that we're having now still have lasted. They're evergreen, because like what were we do? Like we would do this at the bar, or we would do this, at a party, drinking or whatever, or being out in public. And now, all that stuff is shedded. I haven't been drinking. I've been sober for about 4.5 years now, or 4 years.
Same here. Yeah.
Being able to share this conversation with you is tested. This is what we would have done. And I like being reminded that, we weren't just forced together at a party, or no, this stuff is evergreen to me, and I like doing it, and we got to be more intentional about it. And nowadays we get to do this, and I'm glad that we are able to see the other side of stuff like that, and not be so traumatized because I think during the pandemic I tried doing stuff like this, but it was like hard, because it's like, what's happening? And then afterwards it's like, let's act like nothing happened. Now it's like kind of more of the normal, quote unquote normal, is happening, where we can have these conversations and relax a little bit.
Yeah, we got to distract ourselves from the coming apocalypse, which is, by the time we finish taping this podcast, this world could already be gone.
And you'll be pulling this out of the time capsule somewhere.
Yep, we'll be buried underneath the bunker I have beneath this house that I've been prepping in for a long time now, and I can't wait, because I need some time off. and I'm gonna sleep for about 3 years down
your
there.
DVD player, your physical media.
I got all my Blu-rays.
The grid can go down.
I got all my books. I don't need anything,
the grid
man.
can go away.
I'm good.
And, there's a lot of grid exhaustion going on. And I hope everybody that's on the grid right now finds this and can take a little brevity break from it. Because, maybe go watch a DVD. Go download this and listen to this somewhere else that's not connected to the internet.
Have it turned into vinyl and play it on a little Play School wind-up record player. Like I had to do when I was a wee
RCA. Crank it.
They actually had plug-in and battery-powered radios
Walkman
when I was a kid.
Your Discman.
Yeah, I had a batteries, dude. We had batteries when I was a kid.
Dude,
it was amazing.
I would grab my Discman. I'd put in Deftones, White Pony, and I'd go walk off into the woods in Alaska, and you couldn't find me for at least an hour.
Those are beautiful words. Just disappearing somewhere into Alaska is beautiful to me right now. But I just say that because, again, I really, really just need some time off. And I need a nap. And
some bunker time.
Some bunker time.
Yes.
Rob, thank you again so
Anytime.
much. You should come back sometime, throw another one at me. And thanks for the little Brendan Fraser injection that I needed. I needed that in my veins.
Thanks for having me. Take it easy.
And thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed this program, please consider giving it a review here on Spotify or wherever you happen to be listening. Give us a star rating. Leave some comments, questions, theories, criticisms, whatever. We're game for it all. We're friendly people. We don't bite. And if you happen to like movie podcasts, a few others you can check out are the Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema, Night of the Living Podcast, Watch Skip Plus, What Went Wrong, and if you like all things Star Wars, check out my buddies over at Blast Point. And my personal favorite of them all is Not a Bomb. So those are some other shows you can check out, you should check out. So until next time, folks,
If you enjoyed this program, you should totally follow it online.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're talking.
So where are you?
Go to Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and YouTube.
Cool.
And search for Cinema Milkshake.
Do it. We'll give it a whirl. Why not?
And
Like, follow, share, and leave feedback.
You tell the world.
You certainly don't have to, but it would be a whole lot cooler if you did.
Believe that shit.
Word. Oh, that's good.
Until next time, don't let the bastards grind you down.
Listen, don't get prancy with me, kiddo.
Keep watching movies.
Dude, that movie was fucking sweet. Ain't bet your fucking ass it was.
And, most importantly, dear listeners,
What's up?
enjoy every milkshake.
I feel like something incredible is really gonna happen here.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I'm disgusted and repulsed, and I can't look away.
what is this, some kind of a joke?
Some sort, yes.
Bravo!
You're mocking me, aren't you?
How dare you?
Do you know anything about the art of film production?
Well, I like to think so.
Direction, the acting, the storyline. That shit was bad.
Wow.
That was fucking trippy.
Yeah, boy.
What did you think?
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
Why don't you knock it off with them negative waves?
That's part of your problem, you haven't seen enough movies. All of life's riddles are answered in the movies.
I had enough. I give up. I want to go home.
I want you to look around. Just look around. Tell me what you see. A whole society that's obsessed with feeling good and happy.